Hi guys, it's 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, and that means one thing: it's the eye test. We'll be covering the defeat against Aston Villa. Hi, welcome to the Man United Agenda. This is the eye test. Myself and Omundi Juma, and a wonderful bath time. Bath time. You've just come back from Spain. You went to Real Sociedad game. What an experience,
I did.
eh?
Yeah, really. I mean, I didn't enjoy the game that much, but I love Spain. Too much salt in the food. I'm going to be completely honest. I got a terrible case of cramp when I was playing football. But yeah, really interesting what was going on at that game. Huge police presence, a lot of security guards sent from Manchester United, looking for the Hang the Glazers banner, which they didn't find. And it got this. I understand it wasn't shown on the telly, but I saw
Right.
it. And it was really fun. It was great to see the lads up close, but I was really quite concerned with a lot of things that I saw on the pitch. It hasn't been a good week for Ten Hag in my view. A lot of odd decisions.
It's interesting. I mean, you always get a better perspective when you're watching the game live, and you can view the whole pitch as you do, and do the proper eye test. Anyone that stood out to you for Man United that you thought, like seeing them live, you thought, oh, he's better than I thought he was, or that sort of
Yeah,
thing?
Bruno. Bruno
Bruno.
was really good.
Okay.
Like,
In what way?
um, his bitching, I think, was crucial to the team. He never shuts up. You can hear him, like, on the pitch, just shouting people's names and pointing and stuff. And then he's off at the ref, and obviously Bruno's multilingual, so like 1 minute he's whinging at Donny in English, and then he's having a go at the ref in Spanish, which I like that level of sort of. I think that like anyone who can complain in languages, I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
But Bruno, like, he makes things happen. He demands the ball. He's got his body language, and I don't really like that term, but the way he addresses the ball and sticks his chest out and gets his
Mm.
head up, you can see that the players move when he's got the ball because they know he's going to try something outrageous, and they might as well go along for the party. I have to say, I was extremely disappointed with Casemiro and Eriksen. It's probably the worst game that they've had in United shirts, but Casemiro was very sloppy on the ball. Eriksen struggled to get involved, and the Spaniards were just passing it through them with ease.
Wow.
Like,
Just going back to your point about Bruno, because a lot of people on the agenda and Man United
mm,
fans in general are sort of saying Bruno is captain material. Some people don't think he is captain material. But when you mentioned that about him being vocal on the pitch and giving organising and giving direction to people, don't you think that's a good attribute for a captain?
look, I don't want to go on a big sort of like rant about leadership and what it actually is.
Yeah.
If you want to know my thoughts on leadership, you can go and look at my channel where I discuss a thesis that I wrote on leadership. Um, but for me, like a captain to me is someone who sorts out the bus and pays for the five-a-side pitch to do the training on. I don't know what the role of a captain is in a Premier League football club.
Yeah.
And on the pitch, you want a culture of collective responsibility where if someone makes a mistake, you bail them out. And we saw Casemiro do this for McTominay, where like McTominay made a stupid decision and the whole team went and essentially bailed him and us out. Um, but as for a captain, I think it's wildly overstated the influence of a captain. Um, I understand it's a terrific position to have and it
Mm.
should be an honour and all this kind of stuff. But in leagues that I've played in, it's just the oldest player's the captain. Like
Yeah.
it's not it's just an armband. It's not that important. So I'd be more concerned if Bruno is someone that's in Ten Hag's future plans, as opposed to if he's going to be organising the Christmas trip to Dublin.
Good
What do
one.
you think on Monday?
I do think if someone's organising, they know what they're doing. You need to have a captain, a manager needs to have a sort of a mini me on the pitch, someone who's going to go out there and dictate to the players on the pitch what the manager wants. So when I heard you say that Bruno was dictating stuff, I thought, okay, maybe he's doing exactly what the manager wants him to do on the pitch. That's what I feel a captain should be doing, orchestrating the game on the pitch, because obviously the players have to take some sort of responsibility. Also, but I don't think Bruno should be captain. I think there's other players that maybe got a bit more about them than it should be, from my opinion. But it's a good discussion. The other thing you said that got me thinking, you said about Casemiro and Eriksen weren't at the races, maybe. I thought Eriksen, he played in Spain for so long, he knows the pace of the football compared to the Premiership, you know. And Eriksen, I thought would be... No, Casemiro, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
He played in Spain for many years, so he knows the pace of the game. He knows what it's like out there. And Eriksen, I thought, would be able to get his foot on the ball. Maybe I thought, in my mind, I think it's a slower pace. He'd be able to dictate things. But you said the complete opposite, that they didn't have good games and things. I was a bit surprised by that as well.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like, Casemiro's got a shank in him. Like, when he's on the ball, we've seen a lot of sloppy passes from him. But he also has a good range of passing. He understands tempo. He understands, like, when we're sort of like we're too open to play like a vertical ball, so he plays it out to the sides. Like, he's a good player with a great understanding of the game. Eriksen's more of a sort of a combination player who kind of drifts, and as we're going to get onto our team structure, what has happened in the last 2 or 3 games is not helping these players at all. Like, it's absolutely bizarre what we're seeing out on the pitch. I'm pretty sure that everyone is a bit puzzled at what on earth is going on with having, like, just no midfield, basically.
Before we go into that, do you want to respond to Emma here? She's saying it depends on what you want from a captain. All players need to be vocal, stand up for each other, and fight for the team. I just want my captain to get the team ready to play some football. So yeah, we still haven't sort of broken down. We had a discussion before, didn't we, Bath time? But yeah, I will go and check out your video again. But I just want to say hi to Super Nick. She's in the house. Rebel as well is here. How you doing, Rebel? And Cement. Big up to Cement and here your channel. Bobby as well, and obviously Emma's here as well. There's 11 in the comments. Make sure you press the like button. Before we start, just a quickie. GMS is our sponsor. They assist architects, property developers, and construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services, such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, monitoring, and the link is in the description, guys. All right, we're going to get into this. So you were just mentioning there about the shape, the formation, how we're bringing the ball out. It's sort of changed, and you don't like it. So let's go into this. Here we go. Right. We're up now.
We're up. Okay.
Yeah.
So this right, Omundi, is the new shape that we're using to sort of bring the ball out from the back. And I understand what this is meant to do, but I really don't like it. So the first thing, right, is let me get my pen out. Or have I got my pen? Brilliant. Okay, that's not working. Wicked. So the first thing you see is that I put the number 8 here, which is that one of our pivots, which is Casemiro Eriksen, drop in to form a diamond, and the diamond is with the goalkeeper. So you can see here that there's a diamond. That means that we are press resistant against A3. So if the opposition have 3 men, with the keeper involved, we have 1 more person. We then, and this is the crazy thing, we have 1 player in the center of the pitch. Okay, and that means we're not going central. Okay, it's suicide to try and progress the ball through the center. So what you might see is triangles being played, but the point of this formation is to take it out to the flanks. Right. Sorry, I'm just going to get my pen up now. Do you know what I mean? Like, what on earth is this?
Just prior, we were doing a show a few weeks ago, and we were praising the block, the 2-man block in midfield. They've seemed to have gone back to this sort of single pivot now, which is, like you're saying, is a bit dangerous because you're isolated in there, surrounded. Last week, was it, when we saw times when there was one player with 6 around him, or 4 or 5 opposition players around him, ready to sort of to press him and put him under pressure. So I don't like this either, and also because it comes away from the 5 and 5, which is 5 in the back and 5 in attack.
So this is the other thing, Omundi, is that in our attacking unit, we've basically got 6, where our fullbacks are providing the width, and we have like another diamond occupying the central areas, and I just think it's crazy because when we put like players in, you can see how this system works. Where if we have the ball here, we will send our centre back and our other pivot out wide with the intention of drawing the block across or breaking the block. And that means that we can get the ball through quickly to the midfield, or we can work it into wide areas. And then what we're trying to do basically is force the other team back, because if, like, one of the sort of principles of football, right, is that in defence and in midfield you cannot be outnumbered. Certainly in defence, you always need one more in defence than attack, and in the midfield you want one more. So when you have like these inverted forwards here occupying the half spaces, you bring their pivot in, and their wide men have to come, like, let's do it like that so the numbers make a bit more sense. Their wide men have to go onto our fullbacks, their pivots come in, and then you get the ability of someone like Bruno to roam in these areas, and that means that he can get between the lines and receive, and if he turns, the 6 goes to him, the 9 can come in, the 7 can run on. You can see all the combination play that happens. And so the idea is we're stretching the pitch, we're completely overloading everyone, and that by having a high line, and like hopefully only having 2 forwards to deal with, and if there's a third forward, you would expect that one of the pivots will go back, and that number 10 will basically revolve into a pivot, and that we should completely control possession because the other team just can't get out of their half. And we saw this against Chelsea.
Yeah,
like
in
Chelsea.
Theory.
Sorry?
This is all in theory.
In theory, but we did see for 30 minutes against Chelsea, we absolutely did them using this. Like, if you remember, Casemiro was basically the pivot player here, and he had just as much space as he wanted. So the real change was that they brought an extra midfielder on to allow Mason Mount to get on Casemiro, and then they shut us down. So let me know in the comments. I can't see them. If that is that clear, lads. Like, that's how I see the system, and I can't lie. I've never played in anything like this, so I don't understand like the intricacies of it. But that's how I see it. You're essentially just like smothering a team by occupying every area in attack, forcing them back, and your spare man is basically going to play in between the lines and link things.
That makes a lot of sense, and we have seen that, like you say, in recent weeks with Man United. We have seen that sort of 3-1-6 or whatever you call it in play. My only issue with that is, how do you get the ball to the players high up in the pitch? Because we don't seem to be able to get that far a lot of the time, and it usually breaks down. But yeah, that's how it seems to work. I'm yet to see it be effective. I don't know if we continue with this.
I've got good news, lads. My pen's working. We're back in business. I can't lie. I've been very annoyed about that. All right. Well, just now I've got the pen working. The way that we get the ball out, Omundi, is it works like this, where you want these 2 central, your central blocks be as narrow as possible, so that when the ball is here, you'll get something like this where they're blocking the pass to the pivot. This guy is here, and you're like the fullback's only option really is to go to the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper can then hit it there, and you can get out, or you can have like the fullback run in,
Right.
create some space, and then that guy can move there, or this guy can move here. It's like you can get out. Like, I wouldn't say easily, but you could get out consistently. The issue is it puts huge pressure on every single one of this kind of back five, including the goalkeeper, to not make a mistake. Because
Yeah.
if they make a mistake, we're done.
Yeah.
Like,
Most certainly.
it's high risk. And would you like to see it in action?
Of course. Let's go.
Uh,
What do we call it? A 3-1-6.
3-1-6.
I've got Box here. Box is saying it isn't the
Yeah.
3-1 a bit like a schoolyard football.
I don't disagree. Like,
Yeah.
happy birthday, Box. Look. It's not what I'm very conservative, like in my footballing views. Like, I know you all think I'm mental for rating McTominay and Winks and things, but I have very conservative views on football. This to me is wild what I'm seeing, and the results are kind of reflecting it. The last time we lost at Villa, Omundi, do you remember what they said after the game?
You can't win anything with kids.
Yeah,
Alan
that's
Hansen.
how long ago it was that we lost at Villa Park,
Yeah.
and like it's
Unbelievable.
because it's madness like this. All right, so this is the 46th minute. So this is the first minute of the first half, and it is before of the second half. Sorry, and it's before we concede the third goal. Okay, so it's just a pattern of play, and I'd love you to talk us through it, Omundi.
So clearly I can see a 3-1 with Ericsson, who's picked up the ball there, pops it back, plays away, he's facing to Lindelof, who plays it wide to the centre back, who's a bit left here, plays it into Garnacho, gets the return, and now he's trying to stretch it. Lindelof stretches it back to the right back, or the right-sided centre back, which is Casemiro, plays it to Rashford, to Ericsson, and he switched to play, which he does really well there. So that was a nice move.
Yeah, nothing comes from it, but this is the system in action, and I find it really interesting because all these principles are here. Right, we're wide. You can see that Casemiro has dropped in to make the third man at the back. We're very split. These two centre backs, Watkins and Bailey, are having none of it. Right, and this is very worrying for any football team. This is called a box midfield. Shout out Box, and you've got two players against four in here, so they're basically forcing us out to the centre, out wide. We go out wide, and this is a beautiful block the way it's moved. And you can see Bailey is doing a really good job with his cover shadow to stop that getting there. You can see that Watkins is ready to pounce on Lindelof. And this is what I mean about you need to be so good on the ball here. Martinez is good on the ball, and Garnacho comes into that space we were talking about. But I would like to give a special shout out to Ramsey, who leaves Shaw. Like Cash is on. Shaw is Cash's man. Ramsey's Garnacho's, and that's really, really intelligent play from them. Gets it back. This ball here, by the way, I haven't been able to animate it correctly, but this was a dodgy ball from Martinez. He really invited pressure from Bailey. But we go out, and then we use width. We use width and men coming in between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
Really exciting. This is a third man combination.
Yep.
And we release Shaw. But if we go here, that Omundi is worrying. Like, Bailey will have Lindelof on toast. Yep. And I'm not joking, lads. I think I could beat Casemiro any distance. 100 meters, 24 kilometers. I think I'd absolutely do him. So I don't know what you're saying to Ollie Watkins. Here, look, lads. Last night, me and Omundi watched this game, and Omundi could not believe how slow Casemiro was.
He was in top gear.
It's unbelievable. All you lot are talking about Maguire being slow. Casemiro is the slowest footballer I think I've seen. Like, I genuinely can't think of a slower player. But here, this is all quite nice because look, we got Ronaldo a little bit ahead of play. Like Donny's sort of tying up two players. You got Garnacho to make that run. You can get a guy coming in over here, but there's no overloads, and I'm worried about the transitions from this.
Right.
Because 46 minutes. What happened on 47 minutes on Monday?
I hate to be reminded, but yeah, Villa came out like they did in the first half and hustled us and got another goal. We closed the gap to 2-1. They've gone in at half time thinking, yeah, let's get out there.
We were gifted it, weren't we? The Shaw goal. That was an
Yeah.
absolute gift.
We did work our way back into the game, granted. I think we were trying to probe, but that was a deflection, so clearly was fortunate. But
Okay.
yeah.
So do you want to talk us through this?
So here we go. Martinez has played it wide to Ericsson, who's peeled off from a central position. He pops it in field to Ronaldo, who tries to come and get the ball. He gets to Garnacho, he drives forward into the box, kind of gives the ball away, but we get possession again. Ericsson's just outside the box, half space, doesn't cross, squares it to Casemiro, who plays Dalot, goes into the box, and they cleared it, and Watkins now tries to close down. Martinez heads it to Bendia, and now Watkins is hustling, getting into the box, and cuts it back. Ramsey scores. This is disappointing. Very disappointing.
This is a disaster of a goal. Like, I mean, I would laugh at this if this like in the Championship, but this is Manchester United. All right, so the problems like start here. Well, look, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
There needs to be someone needs to be here. Like, look, because ideally, what you want is Martinez there, Casemiro basically in the same place, and then you want Shaw and Ericsson in front.
Yeah, that's a rest defense.
Yeah, that's a proper rest defense. This isn't even counter marking. Like this, I don't know what this is. It's mental to me. But right, so here, lots of stuff happens here of 50-50s and rebounds, and I don't get paid, so I'm not animating it correctly. But higgledy-piggledy, the ball gets out to Garnacho. He drives at the defender. We're in a slightly better position defensively now. Yeah. The issue is, though, and this is something that I want to talk about later, is the space in between the lines is far too much for a top-level football team.
Yeah.
The only team that you might see this from in the Premier League, apart from us, is Liverpool. And Liverpool are suffering because they're not compact enough. But I can talk about Liverpool's fall later. This Omundi is a bit better. But sure, like we need someone more central. And then here, once again, look, it just bounces about, and then Mings clears it. Poor header, and then now this is where the fun starts. This is so bad.
Oh dear.
Okay, so that is perfectly fine as a rest defense. That's absolutely fine. What's not fine is that Watkins and Bailey are in between the lines. And to anyone who has seen any of our content, we've talked a bit about the rest attack and how you destroy, how you break out a rest defense. And with a rest attack, you go out wide and you come in. And especially if you're fast. And this here, Bailey on Shaw, is very reminiscent of a Brentford goal on, I can't remember the man's name, Mbueno?
Mbueno, yeah. They were a lot deeper, but that was the same. Shaw was behind him. His starting position was poor and never got back on with him. He was too fast. Got away with him and scored.
you have to adjust yourself. Like when you see
Yeah.
players that are not central and are wide, the rest defence has to adjust, and it hasn't here. And then this is just ridiculous. What happens here? Casemiro is not mobile enough to play in our midfield next to Eriksen, essentially. And I want to show you a picture of Eriksen. So, I've shown the wrong picture. I've shown it too early. I wanted it to be a nice surprise. So, like, look, this is the cutback. This is Eriksen on Buendia here. Eriksen is doing okay here because the role of the pivot player is to stop balls into this area.
Yeah.
Right?
The right side.
Yeah, like Casemiro, I mean, look at these two. Look at that body shape from the pair of them. That looks like they're in 5 or Take That or something. Absolutely, just ridiculous. Like Casemiro lacks mobility, and he should be there. You can see that this guy Watkins has got his head down, and the ball's going to be played here. So Eriksen has done fine because he's in a position to prevent the cutback. And if you remember the Man City game, Eriksen was in a terrible position, and Foden got in on him.
Yeah.
But Eriksen isn't a what am I doing here? There we go. Eriksen isn't a proper midfielder, and this is why. Buendia stops his run, and Eriksen's just flown off there. Eriksen is meant to be protecting this area here, and he's ended up here. Like, and I don't. It's not just Eriksen's fault because he's been asked to do something that he shouldn't be doing. Right? He's not a pivot player. He's played a lot of football, and we've seen him consistently struggle in this situation. But like for Buendia just to literally stop and put his arms out like that, and Eriksen to just sort of go around in that motion is a dreadful football. And then you all know the rest. This guy Ramsey, who I think looks a good player, comes in and like, you know, I'm always up for like having a go at De Gea. De Gea can do absolutely nothing at any point in this goal. Absolutely nothing. It's a great finish, and congratulations to the lad. And I also want to show you something else, Omundi, after we've been through the comments.
Okay, so let's go through these comments because there's a few things being said here.
Yeah.
So Box is saying, third time this season we've blown out the water in the opening quarter of the game. We've been blown out the water in the opening quarter of the game. We were 2-0 down, weren't we, early on? We must stop this, so we have to start better. Box is saying, looks like an upside down Christmas tree formation, talking about the 3-1-6. I want to say hi to Tyrone Williams. Welcome back, man. How are you doing? Well. Box saying 6 forwards who create nothing, score nothing. Talking about the 6 up top. Tyrone saying, United need Varane back as soon as possible. Wish he was injury prone. Such a huge loss. Lindelof was good football, but not aggressive enough. Box talked to Box. We clearly missed Anthony. He made such a difference since coming in, but we don't have someone of equal quality when he's injured. Box is saying here, isn't the 3-1-6 a bit like the schoolyard football, like we said earlier? Tyrone said it's wild, but I think it'll work eventually. So getting practiced on this drill, just keep at it. He's saying the players just need to become more consistent.
Can I stop you there?
Go ahead.
Like, when Tyrone says he'll think it'll work eventually, the players just need to be more consistent. I don't think that the players that we have in our team, in particular, Eriksen and Casemiro, can play this system not based on consistency or lack of intelligence, but just the lack of physicality to cover the midfield. Like, we're going to show you a clip of a transition after this where the entire Villa midfield start behind Eriksen and Casemiro and Donny, and they're all arriving beforehand. So just to counter,
I think Tyrone does make another point later on, which sort of explains in more detail where his thinking's at.
Sure. Okay. Well, I don't live in the future. I live in the
Okay, well,
past.
we're getting there. We were getting there. Box is saying how many players need to be recruited to suit Ten Hag's style. D is saying Donny van de Beek is drowning out there.
Hmm.
He needs saying we need a midfielder, right back, centre back, and striker. Emma's saying honestly, I don't mind trying something different and new. And even if we lose it, we just got to keep consistent with it. Like Tyron's saying, I can't believe you think Casemiro is slow. Maybe he looks quick compared to Matic. No one is as slow as he was.
Monday, how slow is Casemiro? Like from the
Uh,
footage that you saw last night, is he slower than Matic?
Look, he's supposed to be a world class DM, and I think if we're losing the ball and you got to track back, a world class DM should get himself in position, not be sort of relying on other people. And I think he doesn't do enough, or he hasn't got the legs to get back. Or maybe he's played at Real Madrid where they had 70% possession and they weren't in situations like that often. But he needs to do some sprint drills for sure because he was slow as F. I don't like to swear, you know that already. Tyron saying this is pure laziness, unacceptable, especially when we just got back into the game. Talking about the goal we just conceded after half time. Box saying I think 19 goals conceded, 14 have been in the first half.
Is
And
that
Tyron,
true?
it must be.
If that's true, that's on Ten Hag, I'm afraid. That's a team. That's us being set up badly. 14 goals in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, 8 of them were in like 2 games,
Yeah.
10 in 3 games.
So
there was an Everton game.
Probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's Tyron's count, like where Tyron's head's at. He's saying this is why Fred and McTominay start games a lot of the time, not because of their quality, but their athleticism and physicality and ability to run non-stop.
100%. They cover the vertical and horizontal spaces, and they allow Bruno and Ronaldo to go and have their diva show.
Super Nick, she's saying the formation cannot work. It's not sustainable with the personnel and the opposition that we will face in the Premiership. So this ain't Dutch football or where you can sort of take your time and build and thing. We're getting bitten out here like mosquitoes with these Premiership physical players. You know, Box saying I would have liked to take the Europa League more serious in knockout rounds. They're having a little discussion here, and I want to say hi to Stumpy Candletop. And Box finally saying Ten Hag hasn't been helped with our injury records as well. So there you go. That's where we're at with the comments. That for one, I do think Casemiro didn't get back right. I don't like this 3-6-1. It's not giving us any insurance at all. We've broken on there. We didn't even sort of. They had the guy coming in, Ramsey. He wasn't even picked up at all. There's no one with him. And I think you can identify what was going wrong there. We're going back in.
If we just go back to that, this is something, right, that I have been debating on including in this show or not, because I don't like Garnacho as a footballer at the moment. I think that he's got a very high skill ceiling. I think he'll be a very good player for Manchester United, but the boy's as green as salad, and he should be nowhere near the first team. Like, earlier on, I told Omundi that like Garnacho is like a farm boy from Oklahoma who's been dropped in Naples, and he has no idea of the dangers that face him. Because here, Ramsey, Jesus, that's a big dot, isn't it? Here, Ramsey is Garnacho's man. And as the play sort of builds on and we get to the transition, like Garnacho is here, like Ramsey and Dendonka are here. Like I checked, Garnacho hardly moves. This is kid on football. This is what both of them are doing. This is what Anthony did against Manchester City. Do you remember for the Foden cutback? He went on I can't remember who it was, Cancelo or someone, instead of his man. This is just appalling because his man is here and Rashford should be on Diaz, like Donny, and we'll get to
all out Donny, please. Yeah, all right, we'll get to it. But
all right, like we've got a long section on Donny van de Beek, and we really need your input into it because I'm not gonna lie, we're a bit out of our depth on the first goal. It's very difficult to explain what is going on. But Garnacho is appalling here. Like he should be here.
Yeah.
Like you can't have a man run 40 yards and not have anyone on him.
Can I pause you
And
there for 1 second?
yeah,
Because comments, just boxes saying farm boy from Oklahoma stopped off to get 100 tattoos on the way. Talk about Garnacho. And Tyra
yeah.
saying spot on bath time. I feel the same way about Langa. These players aren't ready. They need a loan to a championship club because you're talking about Garnacho just being a bit
I like
green.
Alanga. I think
Yeah.
Alanga could have done with a loan last year, but his defensive work's been really, really good this year. But what I don't want Garnacho like sort of. You can't play these kids in it. The Premier League is the Super League now. It's the highest standard of league football there's ever been, like in any league, and to throw people on who have like huge deficiencies in their like understanding of football,
Yeah.
like it's gonna like it's happening to Donny van der Beek. It's happening to Trent, right? Who are experienced players, Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's happened
Good
to
point.
Maguire, where people have
Yeah.
got on them, and because they're getting exposed, they're getting outmaneuvered, and because they're playing against great players, and the system isn't helping them. Garnacho is like 19, is he?
Something like
Like
that. Yeah.
he's played about as many games as like of professional level football as Chat has. I feel he's been setting up for a massive fall because at some point, like I'm going to illustrate something that he did wrong that's a basic error later. But you can't keep making these basic errors and getting away with them. And already there's questions about his attitude and things like that. He seems to be in love with Ronaldo. I'm very concerned about what's going to happen to Garnacho because I think it's all coming too soon for him. And I'd much prefer to see Alanga or Sancho like playing in front of him because he's
Yeah.
clearly not ready for
Yeah. There's a
the Premier
hierarchy,
League.
isn't there? I think like someone in the comments mentioned earlier about injuries. We haven't been helped. I think that's why Garnacho is playing. If Sancho was fit, I don't think Garnacho would be even on the bench at the moment.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I saw him live, and I know he scored, but I was very unimpressed with Garnacho off the ball. Like he just doesn't look physically ready to be a footballer. But
Yeah.
anyway, I now want to illustrate. I think is it Tyrone who said that like the system could work, but the players need more consistency.
Yeah.
This is a transition which I find terrifying to watch. And Omundi, could you talk me through my nightmare, please?
So the good distribution of a goalkeeper, that's Martinez, pops it into Luis, who plays it wide to Cash, who's raiding, pops it back now to Ramsey, got his head up, plays it back to Konsa at centre back, and one little quick move down to Cash, and he plays down the line, and he gets in front of, this is Bailey with pace, gets in front of Shaw, plays it, another cutback ball, and Bendia pops it over the box there, pops it over the bar. But, yeah, I see what you're saying here, bro. I've seen it already.
All right, just to illustrate how ridiculous this is.
Jeez.
I mean,
Count them off.
bruv, this is absolutely ridiculous. That's our double pivot. There's Dendonka, like...
It's a free for all. Oh, God.
This is absolutely shocking, and I can't blame any of the back four here because you've got two centre backs on their striker. You've got like,
and then they're covering the key area there of the box.
Yeah, they're covering the key area.
Yeah.
You've got Shaw, who didn't do well initially, has done okay here. Like he's like forcing him on the outside. Delo's in an okay position, but he's got no cover. He's got no cover. He doesn't know where Buendia is. And then these two clowns here. Like this
Name them. I want them the names called out.
Casemiro and Donny. That's
okay.
Eriksen's not in shot. Donny or Eriksen is here. I'll look at the graphics to see who it was. Yeah. But this is unacceptable.
Wrong side, boys.
What is that? Like, look, can I also point something else out?
Referee got it. Oh my days! The referee is fitter than these guys, or faster, and
Right.
get there in time.
So,
Wow. The
like,
referee looks like he's strolling.
Tyrone, bruv, you were telling me that like Matic was faster than Casemiro, right? Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. The ref is bloody faster than our midfield pivot. Like, this is unreal to look at.
Isn't it criminal? It's criminal. Just put up with your marker. Just show where the midfield guys should be. At least
they should be there, and then Donny, like, because he's number 10, he should be in this area. This is Donny's man if he's the number 10. But these two have got to be ahead because like Delo's done well here, but only if he's got a block in front of him.
Yeah.
Like this is, I don't personally, if I'm Delo, I think I go there. Because the ball like has to go further over here, so there's more opportunity for it to go wrong. That's the danger area right there. And this is, I've been told actually that this is called Zone 14, but I'm not having it. This is Zone 16. They've basically got 3 players in the most dangerous part of the pitch, and we don't have anyone. Like, it's the person that is our best in the best defensive position here is the ref. That's how ridiculous this is.
Even boxers said it here. Even the representative of our players.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. And then if you just like with that as the sort of context, when we go back to this clip, look, Shaw's pulled out onto Luis, whatever.
Yeah.
But you got Casemiro in a decent position. You got Eriksen in a decent position. Donny, debatable. You'd prefer him there, but this isn't too bad. You got 2 players picked up. We got Garnacho tracking back. It's not ideal, but you wouldn't look at this and think danger. And then
they even play it back.
Yeah, they play it back.
Stop. All right. Now, okay, you got your right. You got your back 4 back in place.
All right, this is a typical 4-1-4-1 block. Okay, but they're being clever here, Villa. And what they're doing is that they've got 2 men between the lines, and that means we have to drop. Like the whole team has to drop here because they're going to be able to get between the lines. So Eriksen's got to get back. Garnacho's got to get back. Donny's got to tuck in. Rashford's got to tuck in, and Ronaldo's got to apply pressure on the ball. And what that means is that ideally we send it out here where we're going to have enough numbers to deal with it, or whatever, they get it out here, and then if it gets to this area, the block moves over and it's not a problem. This is all basic football, to be honest. They play a combination. Garnacho gets absolutely sold.
And
now,
look at the runners.
It started. It's already started. Buendia 3.
Wait. Casemiro wasn't even shot with that photo image you had. Yeah. He wasn't even shot, was he? So Eriksen, Donny van der Beek, and Casemiro. Okay, Eriksen wasn't in shot. Excuse me.
So it's Donny that wasn't in shot.
Okay. Wow.
But that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. And
but it's my thing. Look, if you're Casemiro and you're supposed, you don't push forward, man. Start behind the ball so you don't get caught out of there. If you ain't got the legs, just sit in there.
I've just realised I made a mistake in the animation. Watkins should have been there, but apart from that, that's a quality. That's photo.
But that's just highlight clearly. I mean, they did make an effort, but the effort's not good enough, and they don't have the physicality or the athleticism to get back. So something needs to change there.
So this is what I want to ask about the comments, because I don't like, as you know, apart from David De Gea, I don't like shitting on our players because they're our players, they represent us, they're our heroes, and I don't like all the stupid arguments that come with like Maguire and Fred and McTominay and things. But these two, Casemiro and Eriksen, and let's pretend that that's Bruno. I am not convinced that this can work, because Casemiro, great player, controls the tempo, lacks mobility. He hates it. He hates not being in this area here. He's also a little bit ill-disciplined, where he gets in between the lines. He tries to make things happen. I know he's player of the month, and I'm not saying he's a bad player, right? Eriksen, absolutely brilliant work rate. He's not mobile, but he covers a lot of ground. He's got an excellent range of passing. He's disciplined in the block, but he lacks the ability to cover lateral and vertical space. Donny
And he gets bullied.
Teams target him in the penalty box at corners and for cutback because he's not a pivot. Donny, I don't care about Donny. Bruno has a lot of running, but he's very, very high up the pitch. Is Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno, despite the fact that individually they're very good players, collectively, do you think, in the comments and you, Omundi, do you think that that's going to be our most successful midfield? I don't.
I don't either. What we're highlighting here is that you need some runners. This is the Premiership. You need someone who's athletic enough to get back. I mean, if you do, sometimes you are going to give the ball away and you are going to be in situations where you have to track back. But like that is not acceptable to get there. It's 3 Villa players saying, feed me, yes, get looking for glory, because they realise they just made a good run. And even the ref as well, the ref had the right mindset. He could have banged it in as well. That's really bad, really bad. I think we need to fix up badly. We're seeing this. It's not good enough. These are goals that could be stopped if we had the right players on the pitch with the right athleticism to get back and just do the work. You're supposed to do that work. And it's unacceptable, I believe, that Eriksen, Casemiro and Donny, even though you don't want to talk about Donny, but Donny was there too, didn't have the legs or the pace or the desire to get back and get in front of these guys to stop them getting the ball and getting a shot almost on target. That's my issue with it. So I don't think, if you're talking about a combination here, I hate to say it, but like, you converted me to a McTominay lover. And I think McTominay does all the right things there. And it's just, the thing is, no one notices these things because you're supposed to do them. It's only noticeable when you see other players that aren't there and the space that's created for them, for the opposition, like there, for that great example you just given. But McTominay just come in there, cover, boom, clear it, and then we carry on, and no one says anything about it. A bit like Harry Maguire clearing clearances, clearing headers, that kind of thing.
Don't make this about Maguire.
I'm not, sorry, forgive me. But
this is about McTominay.
What I'm trying to say is that is the basic work that footballers are supposed to do and are supposed to have the legs to do to be able, at that level, to be able to do properly. I'm just disappointed that Eriksen and Casemiro, 2 good players, like you said, 2 luxury players, but they need someone in there with the physicality and the athleticism to get back in and help out there. Even if one of them was back, it could have stopped that move from happening. But
do you think
that's, I don't want to...
Sorry, you think Casemiro is a luxury player? I mean, I do, but I understand that people might not accept that because he's put in a lot of tackles and interceptions. My issue is he goes to ground the second he leaves the centre of the midfield. Just dives in.
And my issue as well is if you know you're at the age now where you look at Alan at Everton. He was a Brazilian who turned up, played really well because he was disciplined in position. You didn't see him going forward or going against disrespecting Everton or Carlos Ancelotti by doing something that was not his job. Casemiro, in my opinion, at his stage in his career, should just sit there and just play the ball and not get ahead of himself and try to think he's better. Because he might probably looks at Fred, McTominay, and thinks, I can do it better than them higher on the pitch. I'm just guessing here, maybe. And this is why he wants to get forward. But I think
agree.
Sit back and prevent this from happening. And I don't like, as you said, I like the 5 and 5. I love that. I've incorporated it into my Sunday team. Learned it here on the eye test, which gives you so much insurance. And I just don't like this 3 and 1 6. It just doesn't. With like chances like that, we get countered, and it's ugly there. And then people, then we're picking up people and putting them to shame on the eye test for not having the legs to get back.
I agree. I think that Casemiro has got to take a leaf out of one of my all-time favourite midfielders and current under-23 player, Tom Huddleston, who had very limited mobility, but the most
Yeah,
delicious passing range you'll ever
yeah.
see from a player. He was as good as Veron, like passing the ball. Um, and I just think that like Ten Hag's had a bad week, and he needs to get back to the drawing board and focus. As Box pointed out, we're we're getting like. I can understand us like conceding goals in the second half because there's a lot of games and these players are tired. But like, I think is that like 70% of our goals are coming in the first half. We're not
So
on
it's
it. We're not
19 conceded, 14 coming in the first half. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a
like
lot.
that. That means that we're not prepared. Like the players aren't prepared. The head's not in the game. The system's wrong. It's one of those things, and it's extremely worrying. Because I'm not turning on Ten Hag, but I think he's experimenting too much. And when things are going badly and you're shipping lots of goals, you go back to basics and you make sure that you've got a
Yeah.
solid base, and then that lets you go and nick a goal.
Granted,
But
though, when we did lose to um, who was it early in the season, we lost to Brentford
Brentford,
and
Brighton.
Brighton. He adjusted and we went on a 5-game winning streak. Then we lost to Man City. We can forgive that because they're a superior team. But losing this game here, I think something has to be done about it. I think he's sort of manager that will make those changes. I just want to go through a couple of comments about his.
Sure.
So Tyron said, I shouldn't laugh because it's terrible, guys. I'm sure Ten Hag told the players that too after the game. He's also saying, I'm glad you think that they will, but when no, they're holding us back. Talking about improvement. Box is saying that's unusual for Casemiro. I want to say hi to Delway down on TV. He's tuned in. If you are tuned in, press the like button, guys. Thank you. I know it's late, but yeah, this is interesting stuff. Box is saying he was always a defender in midfield trio at Madrid. Obviously, talking about Casemiro. Casemiro should do the dirty work used to do the dirty work ahead of Modric and Kroos. Two talented players. Rory C, how you doing? He makes a good point saying C still needs the other two midfielders to help out. Does Casemiro need to develop in a tactical foul to strive in the Premiership a la Fernandinho, says Box. I think he's got that in him if he just stays in position. But he can't even get close to these guys.
He goes to ground too much. Like he's literally just got to do like, was it Chiellini who just like pulled Saka back?
Yeah.
Like notice that's a very slow player playing in a high line as well, lads.
Super Nick saying they don't complement each other. Tyron Williams saying sounds crazy, but De Jong would have put us a lot closer to Arsenal. He feels. Rory C saying if they were goal side, it's easy to block the run. Rory, big up, man. I like what you're saying here. Same page. Lethargic, says Super Nick. I think we need a more mobile number 8 plus Ericsson, Fernandes, and at 10. So we were asked a question about
dropping Casemiro.
I think so.
That's a huge shout, Box. That is a huge shout. Like
we've got a mobile number 8, haven't we? Super Nix is saying opposition will feast on this. Rory saying agree regarding more mobility at number 8. So they all agree. Emma is saying here, honestly, I would put McTominay in there and play with two up front as Bruno is roaming anyway. Kyra Williams is saying we signed Casemiro late in his career. United used to sign players in the mid-20s in that position. Let's see. Here we go. Just interesting. Box said Iwobi was the first half goal. Iwobi is someone who's changed position and doing pretty well for West Ham at the moment. Not West Ham, Everton. Super Nix is saying, I agree with bath time. I do not see Ten Hag's vision at the moment. It all seems haphazard at the moment. And I want to say hi to Mark Edmund as well. You're coming on the show soon.
That was Super Eden's saying, brother, by the way.
Oh, Eden. Okay. Super Nick saying, plus they're not listening to the manager. It's that old chestnut again. And just a couple more. Just say here. I want to say hi to Solo as well. He's in the house. Big up Solo. Everyone's saying big up to Solo. Emma's saying, I think he's going with what's working till we lose, and then he just fixes it. It's just going to be like that all season. So yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the graphics.
That's how I treat my car, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right now, boys, we're about to show you the first goal. So much happens in this goal, and I'm not gonna lie, me and Omondi don't. We watched this for about 40 minutes last night, didn't we? This like 1 minute
Yeah, we
clip.
couldn't agree on anything. It was just so many.
And it's not like we were arguing about stuff. It's just so much crazy stuff happens here that it's I think I know what the problem is, but there's only one individual error. Well, there's two actually. There's only two individual errors that stand out, but there's a lot of very odd decisions made by our team. So this take a bit of time. I'm sorry, Solo, but I would really, really like your input into this in the chat. What you think this is when we break it down, because I'm a bit lost, to be honest.
Remember,
But
this is the
Omondi,
first goal, guys. 6 minutes
this
gone,
minute
first
6.
goal, and they playing out from the back, so they've got possession. The great goalkeeper plays it wide to the left back. He plays it back to Tyrone Mings. He squares it now into David Luiz, who drops off. Not David Luiz, Luis, the Brazilian, plays it to Ramsey. He plays it back to Konsa. Luis has got the ball again here. He's got time, head up, plays it to Mings. Now Mings plays it to Luca Dina, who dinks over Dalot and plays it to Watkins. Now it's on. Watkins holds up the ball, runs, Lindelof tracks him, gets drawn out, suddenly plays it into the two guys there, and this little touch off from Ramsey to Bailey. He's got the pace to beat Martinez on the left-hand side and also to beat the goalkeeper from that angle.
All right. This is right, lads. This is all pretty crazy, and on Monday, I'd really appreciate if you monitor the comments for each particular section of what goes wrong. But the first thing that I know goes wrong is Garnacho. Right? There's only two things I can say with confidence go wrong here. The first is Garnacho, and this is what I mean about him being green. So here, Casemiro is on Douglas Luiz. Like Eriksen on Buendia, Donny van der Beek on Den Donker. I don't like that space in between here. This could be a trap. Okay, this is all fine. We're a little bit. I'd much prefer this front three to be narrower, but it's not the end of the world. So they knock it about, and it goes out to Digne. Right, this is the first mistake. Casemiro is on Buendia. Eriksen is on Ramsey. Garnacho is playing kid football again, and he's just staying on cash. In a pressing trap, you have to move over, and Luis is Garnacho's man. This is incredibly worrying that a professional footballer doesn't understand this. And let's
just. The ball is on the left-hand side of the pitch.
Yeah,
you got to. It doesn't mean you hug the touchline almost. You got to come inside and get ready. Yeah, that's it. Shuffle over and get.
Those are the movements.
Yeah,
those are the movements that you make. Like we've talked a lot about pressing traps and how to press on this channel. But like I can't remember what game it was. I think on Spurs we talked in great detail about how the press works, and the best part of the press, the bit that I enjoy most watching, is the changeover between the winger and the midfielders, passing them on. This is the first mistake, right? This is the first point of error, is that Garnacho, look at him running after Cash. Right, shout out to everyone who knows what this is. That's a back three with the central fielder dropping in. La salida Volpiano. Okay, and now there's too much space here.
Big time.
Okay, now the first of Donny's contributions. Sorry, Omundi, were you going to say something?
Just to say, Garnacho, that the man picking up the ball now, if Garnacho had been wise, he would have been shuffled over and got close to him in the first place. Now this man's got enough space, and Garnacho's thinking about picking up Cash. I mean,
look, you should have. Garnacho should be here, right? And then Shaw pushes up onto Cash, and Konza You then put like I know everyone here thinks that Tyrone Mings is rubbish. I think Konza is
I do.
I think Konza's a poor centre back on the ball. And if there's one player in the Villa team I want on the ball, it's Konza.
Yeah.
So and at that and then Konza is the one that's got to drive it forward. And to be honest, he probably will try and hit a channel ball for Bailey or for Watkins, and we eat that up. Right. So that's what I would expect to happen. But Luis drives and Donny is late. Like, Donny is late because he's not expecting it, to be honest. But Garnacho, Casemiro, and Donny, someone has to go out to Luis. You can't.
Yeah.
This is how we got killed when we were 2-0 up against Villa last year. You can't let a defender just progress from their final third, sorry, their first third to the middle third for free. It's unreal. You might think right of like if you're in the Somme and you're fighting trench warfare, you don't give up trench space. They have to fight
Sure.
for it. We've just let this guy just wander through.
And it took an age before he even got close to him, and it wasn't even enough pressure. He was still cool. Popped off the ball.
Yeah,
Looks like Donny's close. He wasn't even that close.
it
Didn't make
wasn't
it
that
no
close.
effort.
Now this is the next bit that I am absolutely fascinated by, and I've slowed it down here. Right, I'm on that. I want to know what they say in chat about this.
Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there. So guys, so here we go. Rory saying, do we blame Ericsson for not tracking the run? I think this is earlier in the move. Saying wasn't Lindelof at the halfway line, so people getting drawn out. We've gone ahead of ourselves a bit here. Effing 6 minutes gone and we're conceding a goal. It's all too easy, says Super Nick. And just finally, a couple more. Garnacho ain't showing them out wide. He's letting them pass right through direct to the strikers. Well, we're saying he should sort of shuffle over and get with the press, you know.
No, he's got to get central. That's maybe I've misunderstood what you've said, but just so that it's clear that everyone is on the same page, is that Garnacho is not in that case meant to be on their right back. He's meant to be on the pivot.
When the ball's on the left,
yeah,
Garnacho should come over and cover the middle, and then he can always go back once the ball gets switched again to where he needs to go. But he should have been closer to Luis once the goal. Martin's played it to the left back earlier in the move.
Now, this Omundi is something that confuses me here because I don't know what's gone wrong here, but something's gone wrong. Ronaldo, in a rare display of defensive, of an ability to sort of understand he needs to defend, has seen that there's a pass in here to Dendoncker. Ronaldo goes to close Dendoncker off, and I want you to watch what happens. This is a mistake. This is a really bad mistake because I think Donny follows the ball to Mings here. And
stop. If we know that Ronaldo pointed to Donny to do that run.
Yeah. And I was just about to say, my friend Ronaldo thinks the same.
Yeah.
This is it. Like Ronaldo has come back onto Dendoncker here. Donny is moving in that direction when Donny is now the central striker and he should be following the ball out to
Who would usually make that run?
Bruno Fernandes makes that run.
Yeah.
We all know Bruno loves a good chase about. Bruno makes that run. I think Donny van der Beek is overcoached. And when I say overcoached, it's a common problem in like academies and things where people aren't able to think for themselves because they just constantly rely on their coaching. And in this case, Donny is, well, I'm like the number 10, so I sort of go here. And Ronaldo has actually done well here by getting in, but Donny's got to follow that ball. And then this is how we get opened up. Look, watch Rashford.
Rashford has to do Donny's work.
Rashford has to go out. The low has to come out to Digne, right? Watkins has got into a channel, and because Donny is here instead of here, Casemiro can't get between the lines.
Yeah.
And also Garnacho's out of position. But at this point, we expect Garnacho to be out of position. I'm not blaming him that much. But Garnacho should be here. Donny should be here. If he hasn't made that run, Donny should be here. He should be covering Rashford's position, and that allows Casemiro to get goal side of Buendia, and it's a lot less dangerous. And then this happens, and I am thrilled to hear what people say about Lindelof here. But Omundi, are you there, or have you muted yourself?
I'm here, but yeah,
You're here.
Don't want to hear no barking. Rory, yes, that's what it is. The golden retriever. They're talking in the comments about Bruno was a golden retriever in past life. But
right, what are they saying about this, Omundi? About Donny van de Beek not closing the ball down there? Has anyone commentated on that?
Okay, so yeah, a couple of here. Tyron saying this is very detailed. Surely to Eric Ten Hag and assistants are drilling the players about the pressing before the game. Mark Edmonds saying lack of frontal pressure. This is almost about Donny. We're coming on to Donny now. Ten Hag should have been in Garnacho's ear with a megaphone, says Box. Here we go. Super Nick saying, is Donny running away from the ball? And Mark Edmonds asking, saying Bruno was a golden retriever in the past life. And here we go. So Tyron's saying that's not the first time I've heard that about Donny being overcoached. I imagine he's saying a lot of United fans have made that observation. He's very mechanical, almost robotic.
Yeah.
But in the Premiership, you have to be adaptable. That's right. Good point. Yeah.
I completely agree. I completely agree with Tyrone. Tyrone's quite a good footballer, isn't he? I'm sure he's seen like players that are just like, that's not my job. This is my job. When what we're seeing here is like almost a collective failure of like leadership and responsibility. It's like I feel when players are overcoached, I feel they hide. It's like, do you know how I said like Garnacho on Cash is kid on football? Because he's not taking responsibility, but he's got an excuse. I think Donny's doing the same here. And now Lindelof. All right, Omundi, you're a defender. I personally think Lindelof does the right thing here, but I can understand why people would say he doesn't. But let's look at what he does, and you tell me.
Right. So obviously he's got Watkins on him. What he doesn't want to do, Watkins, is him to go down the line and run him. So you go and make him play the way he's facing, which he tries to do. He even tries to pinch the ball a couple of times. But Watkins is strong, a bit like Bath time. He can sit his ass on him, and it's hard to sort of get the ball off him. So what Watkins does really well here is sort of hold up the ball and drag Lindelof to where he wants him to go. So what he doesn't want to do is spin off. Lindelof does want him to spin and be able to turn, but eventually he sort of does a little drop the shoulder, and then cuts inside, and Lindelof goes with him, and suddenly you're thinking now you've got to either foul the guy because now he's drifting in to an area, dangerous area. You've got to foul him and stop the play, or
foul him around here.
Yeah, before he starts to turn, because then you look stupid because now you're centre back and you've sort of vacated your main position, which should be zone 14 or 16, whatever you call it.
Yeah, this area here.
So the right thing is take him out. You've done the right thing. Stop him turning on you. Make him play the way you're facing, but take him out. If he does something and gets away from you, just chop him and then take a yellow card if it's what it takes.
You've got to foul him here. It's a central area. Like, you should defend that set piece without any issues. But there's a couple of things that I find interesting here, Omundi. The first thing is that Lindelof initially does quite well for me here. Like, Watkins wants to spin in here, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Right. And he stops that, and we look in an all right shape because Casemiro is using his cover shadow to block off Buendia. Delo is doing the same to Digne or whatever he's called. And for me, as I was saying earlier, I think, and I'd love to know what everyone else thinks, the first thing that I was ever taught in football was how to turn. Because if you're facing that way, there's very little danger. But if you're facing that way, there's a lot of danger. And Lindelof's got one thing on his mind, and that's not to turn. And now this is the part that I am extremely interested in. One of Rashford or Donny has to curve their run and get on Watkins here. And I'm gonna show you a picture of the situation.
Okay. Yes. So you can see Lindelof is fighting with Watkins here.
Look at that arsework. That's absolutely beautiful. Like, do you see how he's got his weight on his standing foot, his hip pointing in. Lindelof has to basically go through him, or around him, get the ball
without getting spun, without the risk of getting spun.
Exactly. He's gonna get spun. And now for me, this is a personal opinion based on the fact that I play in midfield. Like, the ball, it's far less dangerous here than it is here, right? It's why you pack the midfield, because you don't want the ball in central areas because you've got all the pitch to hit. Donny van de Beek, for me, has to curve his run like that and block up this space, and that allows Eriksen to drop a little bit, and Rashford, he's applying pressure. He's applying pressure. Donny, he's looking. I don't understand why he knows there's a man.
Look at Rashford's body language. He's moving in. Yeah. Donny's standing there. He's not reactive, as you're saying, overcoached and not being reactive.
Yeah, and I think it's because this is my man, so I just deal with this is Douglas Luiz, I think. I've just discovered that's Dendoncker today, by the way. I had no idea who he was. I think Donny makes another catastrophic, well, not catastrophic, but another very fine detailed error here, where everything's wrong about, look at our team. Look at this. Look at how they're all standing. Rashford on the move. Casemiro fine. Shaw flat-footed, get to. But Donny's got to be moving there. Casemiro's he's man-orientated here. Rashford's man-orientated. Donny's got to get across, and I think that Eriksen can come across and protect the centre. And you'd expect Garnacho to move over as well.
He won't.
He won't. But these fine details, unfortunately, have shown me how far behind I think United are. These are the things that make a big, big difference at high-level football, and it gets worse. It gets a lot worse because here you've got Ramsey and Bailey who are between the lines, right? This is Casemiro's job. Casemiro is the guy that blocks the space between the lines. Casemiro is unable to do this, right? Because he's not getting help from his central players with Ronaldo and Donny van de Beek. And Watkins has turned, and what's that? You want to see a picture of Watkins turning and what it looks like?
Wow.
That is atrocious from Eriksen. So sorry, that space that I've squiggled in behind, that's the space that he's blocking. He doesn't know that Ramsey is moving. Yeah. Donny, by the way.
What's that from Big Lebowski? You're out your effing element, Donny.
Yeah, and I don't genuinely I know I always talk about how I think that Donny van de Beek is an unintelligent player. And this is why I think about it. Because he only runs in straight lines and he clogs up people's space and he never fills in. And if we wanted Donny here, right? Then Eriksen can be here, Garnacho can be here, and Casemiro can drop. and you can
Yeah.
push Delo onto Buendia, and this can be the spare man because this guy is genuinely Dignate. He's the least dangerous person on the pitch in this situation, right? They like Watkins has to turn into trouble in order to hit him, but Eriksen, that is a terrible body shape, and the only two people that are on the move are Lindelof and look. If you're a young footballer, look at how Ollie Watkins uses his arse. He's a genius. It's like more than Beyonce. But Martinez is on the move,
anticipating something.
and Shaw is flat-footed. And here, Omundi, after a lot of discussions, Omundi has convinced me that that is Shaw's man, and that is Martinez's man. But Shaw thinks that's his man.
Yeah.
And what's so annoying is 5 yards, 5 yards to his right. Use your though. You block that pass, and and to be honest, they send it home, and we all laugh.
It's also as well. You're looking at the space that Jacob Ramsey's had time to run into. He can't believe his luck. So he's thinking, wow, I'm looking at space in between the lines. So the defenders here have to push up and compress the space to prevent that having so much space there. If they push up, look at the lines, that's their line there. Their line should be a bit ahead of their defensive line should have been. They've left it late. That's the gap between the lines. But I'm saying the two defenders should be there. Should be there, pushing up there at least.
Yeah.
The only person reacting who knows that position is Martinez at this time. He's a bit late, but he's getting there. I'm sure it's just standing his ground at the moment, when really he should be thinking, I'm going to press. The only pass I'm worried about, let me get a bit closer to Jacob, who's coming to my zone now. I've got to deal with him. I've got to be ready now. If the ball goes into him, I'm going to be on his ass. So he ain't got a pass on him. I'll put him under pressure.
I think that this is another example of players not taking responsibility. Shaw is like just staying in a line, protecting the centre, which maybe, you know, the Premiership's on another level to anything we've seen this season. Like Unai Emery is a hell of a manager, and he's at a club. He's at a mid-table club. Like we might get bloody Thomas Tuchel turning up at Southampton or something. Every game is going to be about fine details and stuff. And Shaw, who's had a very, very good season, is not proactive enough. And my boy Garnacho is once again, ironically, he's only concerned about cash when he should be concerned about Ramsey.
He ain't helping out at all. But he say he's concerned about Cash, but when you run the play, Cash does the blind run on him and gets in. And there's an option for the pass. So what is he really doing?
Right the way through. This is why I don't want to go too hard on Garnacho, because he's clearly not ready for football. Like he needs a year. He needs a year in the reserves or whatever. And then so here, that's the pass that gets played through. It's Casemiro's got to be in that space. He's got to be there. Like, or he's got to be here covering Lindelof. Yeah. Like maybe Delo should come round here. But this is what I mean. There's so many. No one has done anything really bad in this move. I don't understand. There's so many points of failure, Omundi.
Yeah.
And when you have so many points of failure, that means that there's a complete lack of understanding in the system. Or, to be honest, just basic football of filling in spaces. It's so worrying.
Like you say, look, if one man presses, it has to be a team press to be effective. One man presses. If he does it on his own, he might look good, but then he's drifting out of position and damaging the team. So the team has to be fluent. So when we see these little graphics like this, we want to see the movement of the team fluent and well organized and orchestrated with what they're doing. We're not seeing that here. Like we said, we highlighted one or two players making the move and being reactive, and while the others are standing around drifting and staring into space.
And here it all, after we've given our opinions on it, you can see it all unfolding again.
Ramsey coming into that space there between the lines. And then, yeah, he's got time. He's got time. No pressure to play the nice ball into Bailey's feet. He's rapid and gets away from
Yeah,
Martinez.
I still think that De Gea should save that shot.
I'm not sure. What do you guys think in the comments? Because me and Bath Time are arguing about this, whether De Gea should have saved it. Did he set himself well? Did he, sort of, should he have come out a bit more to close the angle? It's a tough one. Tough one for
All
me.
right,
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna stop the clips there, and also
Can we do some
we have
comments?
yeah, but we have a slight announcement before the comments, before I forget, which is that
There's
this will be
19
the
in the comments,
last.
by the way.
This will be the last eye test of this year. I can't do the Fulham game, and then we have the World Cup. There's absolutely no way I'm going to be sober over Christmas to do like any of the games. We'll try and drop some content for you like on the channel, and we'll be around other channels and things. But I would just like to say thank you so much to everyone that's come in and has been nice to us. We're never trying to lecture you. We love football, and we're just trying to finally talk about football. So yeah, as this is the last eye test of the year, we'll also do any general questions that you have, not specifically related to this match.
Also, there's 20 watching right now. Make sure you press the like button, guys. Really appreciate you tuning in. Mark Edmund here is saying Donny's suffering from crisis of confidence. He's hiding a bit, much like Maguire. Cement is saying Donny seems like a passive player who's not been able to adapt to fast-paced changes. Good point. Every second counts at the top level, and he wastes those seconds trying to process the right decision. I like that comment. Superlick is saying, Superlick saying Lindelof is biting off more than he can chew. Paddy, how you doing? Says no captaincy is important still. He feels. Donny's falling back on his safe space, which is being robotic, much like De Gea sticking to his line when he isn't comfortable. Good comment there from Mark Edmonds.
Yeah, but whose fault is that? Like when you say like sticking to their safe place and falling back to like habits, is this on the coaching staff? Is this on the players? Is this on their teammates? Is it on the manager?
Can I answer that? I think you answered it earlier when you said he's sticking on Douglas Luiz because that's his man. That's what he's been coached to do. He's overcoached.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me than think. He's not being reactive. He's not taking responsibility, and that comes from game time and pressure situations, everything else. So I do think you've got a point here, Mark Edmund, by saying safe space. Well, I was on my man because with these football teams, they got data analysis. So when it comes to sort of calling people out in the classroom on a Monday morning, and everyone's sitting there like, "Oh God, it's you again," you say, "Well, I was on my man. Look, I'm on my man. I'm marking my man." That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, I can't tell you how true that is. At the university, we got like the nerds at the AV club came and started filming like our games, and by the third game, literally all anyone cared about on transitions was doing kid on football and just making sure they were next to a man instead of like
cheating.
Like what? It is cheating, and like Garnacho and Donny cheated in that game. I'm afraid.
And by doing that, it turns out they weren't even doing the right thing in the first place.
Yeah.
Trying to say they got man. Paddy saying Lindelof is not the sort of standard Man United. Lindelof holding hands, says Box. Mark Edmonds saying a lack of confidence. Mark Maguire's the same. He keeps trying to jump in and intercept to show his value. That's when we talk about Lindelof trying to hold up Watkins there. Donny isn't judging each situation on its merits. Mark Edmonds, good point. Cement's back saying some of the best teams are able to see passes ahead, and our failure to do so allows Villa to capitalise on us being slow to react.
Whoa. Cement, do you mean like I don't necessarily disagree with this, but when you normally talk about seeing a few passes ahead, it's in an attacking sense. Like, are you talking about in a defensive sense that like we should like that players should have a picture of where everyone is on the pitch and anticipate overloads are forming and things, and that they need to move? Because I'm not against that, but that sounds like a recipe to disaster for me. I don't know.
I think you get drilled in certain things. Like we keep asking this third man run kind of thing. That comes from best
but that's
teams
attacking, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's an attacking thing. But that also comes from best teams being able to see that ahead. It's like a snooker player seeing 3-4 shots ahead. and teams should be able to do that. The snooker play is an individual sport, but to get a team to do that, to be on the page, bam, bam, bam,
Yeah,
right,
but
we're on it.
that's
No,
attacking them.
automatic. Yeah, but
That's
even
attacking them
in
on the day.
defensive phases as well, you need to be on it. So, bam, 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 we're in this situation. Here's the deal. Here's what we've got to deal with. Bam, bam, bam. My right back's pulling in here. I know that's going to happen. You know, these things happen automatically eventually.
But you drill. So you drill. So you're talking about like transitions from possession to defense.
Yeah.
But how can we see that a few passes ahead? I'm actually arguing with two different people who aren't talking to each other here. So sorry.
Like, Cement.
Cement. Tell us what you mean, because I've never considered that before.
Donny's strolling, says Rory C. Box saying Donny's on the beach. Football Moss Sports Talk, how you doing? Says nice. Some of the only Man United peeps I like. Always good, you guys. CM22, Paxton, Ronaldo, pros only. Good quality Man United fans. Big up to you, Football Moss Sports. Thank you very much. Mark Edmonds saying, Omundi, Donny, you have no frame of reference here. That's a line from one of my favorite films, Big Lebowski. Donny gets grilled in that film, like he's getting grilled tonight. George Kyle, how are you doing? He says the GOAT arrives. Yes, if you are the GOAT, then I accept that. Yeah, you may well be. In what? I don't know, but you in your own mind, you must be something good. Tell us about it. Football Master saying, why I always wonder why cannot go Casemiro, Fred. Okay, Casemiro, Fred, Ericsson, he's asking why we can't go for those three. For Ten Hag here, as he finally got back he's got his back four in place after Ollie and Ralph Wooden. Okay.
Wouldn't be against that, Casemiro, Fred, and Ericsson. I think like Casemiro needs a runner. I'd much prefer to see Scott McTominay in there because I think he has more. But I agree. I think we've got to get legs in around Casemiro and Ericsson.
And that will prevent what we've seen today in the show with
hopefully
us being ripped apart and embarrassed. Aaron's saying this looks like a lack of concentration, communication, and action. George Kyle said Lindros was crap there. Shaw and Delo have certainly picked it lately. Realists didn't see that happening. Football Moss. Didn't too much space here. There's so much space. There's Super Nick. Harsh on De Gea, says Mark Edmond. There you go. That's for you, bath time. I think it's a bit harsh. Here we go.
I've never been harsh on De Gea.
Basically, De Gea is a fraud, so it's his fault in my view. Super Nick is saying leaders or initiators to get the team to move progressively.
Yeah, is this what we miss? Is this like Ten Hag? Like, did he come out and say that the players weren't doing what he asked them to, and like there was like a lack of communication and things like that? Do we have like a problem with like Martinez and Shaw, where they're not? Despite them being the left side defenders, they're not in sync with each other. And like, how do you solve these things? Because everyone appears to be playing in a different system in that clip.
I think, like you highlighted against Man City, who play very slow. We had Dalot in centre midfield, and McTominay ended up at right back, and they had to be able to deal with that situation. Which I don't think they did anything particularly wrong, but that's sometimes you end up in different positions. Like Shaw was centre back with Martinez, and Martinez was on the right hand side of the centre back, which is something he's not really used to. He's usually plays on the left, for example. So when you're in these positions, you need to be able to sort of represent and perform really well. I think that comes from what they call it total football, don't they? In a way. Just going through this, loads of comments coming in. Just want to touch on a few here. Great show. Will be missed back in the new year? ? Says Mark Edmond. We'll say hi to Vincent. He said, which has been the best third eye of the series? That's a question for the panel. It's not third eye. It's the eye test. And Donny needs to find the eye of the tiger. That's what it takes. That's what he needs to believe in himself a bit. Good example.
Can he find
George.
that here though? Can Donny find it here? Because
that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think so.
George is saying good example of what's been overcoached. To only mark your man was Cucurella on the Arsenal goal at the weekend. So that's a good example. Another good example.
I haven't seen it.
George. Tyrone saying, in fairness, Donny hasn't had much game time as the likes of Fred and McTominay as a result of lack of, I don't know what he's saying here, sorry, form. Donny's form is a case of less game time, basically. He's saying.
No, I disagree with this. I saw Phil Jones last season come in against Wolves after 18 months out and get man of the match. Donny van der Beek hasn't taken his chances. It's not like he might not have a lack of game time, but he's still going to work. He's still in all the sessions, like understanding all the drills, all the things that are going on. He's just never taken his chance. Like,
I've got about 7 more good comments coming through. So just to stop me, Bartha, if you want to touch on them, because I want to get everyone involved. Cement is saying, I was referring to us defensively, as you know what Cement said earlier about good teams, what they do well. Having seen things 3-4 possessions later. I guess it's a lot to do with anticipation. Maybe it comes from preparation on the training field and in the film room, which is something we don't really appreciate so much in modern football today, which they do a lot.
Well,
Sorry, go on.
I can tell you about how I used to train for transitions in Chile, which was the most stupid thing I've ever done in football. We used to play a rondo, right? So we used to play like a rondo, which is like 5 or 6 players like passing it about, guy in the middle, and then another guy gets added, and another guy gets added, and at some point you're going to lose the ball. And the crazy thing is, right, is that there are 2 goalkeepers outside of the rondo, and they can score against either goalkeeper. And the second they get the ball, it's time to focus on the transition. And one man has to run to the ball, and everyone else has to run to the man. Has to run to the man. I never ever understood what I was meant to do, and I got in so much trouble for literally just cleaning players out, like in training. Absolutely smash them.
It's not a case of you not knowing the language. It's not in the case of you not knowing the language. You
I was just being stupid.
Right.
I was just very stupid. Like any transition training I did, I never really understood it, but I loved it because it involved a huge amount of running. And I think that when like it's so important to train transitions because there's only 4 stages of football: possession, defense, and the bits in between. And they'll be doing it day in, day out. But when we saw Ten Hag, he had a face like thunder throughout the match, and I agree with him because I know we've shown a lot of details tonight about Donny not following the run and Sean flat-footed. And I understand that a lot of you guys don't play football. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like you don't have to be like experts, and we're certainly not experts. But Ten Hag is, and if I can spot these things, like he'll spot them on the pitch, and I imagine. I mean, I think I'd be very surprised if we see Garnacho and Donny playing in a big game again. He might stick them out against Villa, but this is unreal, the mistakes that they've made. They're terrible.
I feel sorry for them right now. They'd be red-faced in that classroom, getting grilled. 21 in the watching right now. Make sure you press the like button, guys. Sorry, I just missed out. There's a good comment here from Super Nick saying, defense should be able to sniff out danger and at least try to avoid conceding rather than waiting for the ball to roll on by. She also says not just to be static and defeatist. Cement is saying having an idea of how the opposition will look to exploit certain scenarios could put you in the position to do that. I do get what Vaughan is saying, however, at times in the game can be unpredictable. Super Nick's again saying they all look like they had been whiplashed after the first goal. Tyrone is saying, I was going to say Tyrone Mings. Tyrone Williams is saying De Gea has made too many amazing saves this season for me to go in on him, but his work off the line to claim crosses should be better. He should be barking orders at the defence a lot more. Rory is saying it might be better if they all learn to speak American. Martin was saying, very funny, Rory, man. Martin was saying, Delo and Casemiro are standouts for me. They play our system, but analyse the game unfolding and react accordingly. Thoughts on best performers? We'll come back to that. Just let me go through these. I just had a light bulb moment after the statement back half time. They're all playing different systems at different times and defaulting to type. Mark Edmonds saying we're suffering from growing pains as a team this season. Super Nick again saying our team has no identity, has no identity, and that is on the manager. And yeah, I know it takes time. Paddy's just chipping in saying I haven't been wrong on my views, because Paddy sort of said a lot of things about certain players And yeah, you're right. A lot of the time, Paddy, we respect. Rondo says Super Nick. Martin was saying practice ain't playing. Donny is suffering from a lack of confidence. A couple more here because they're all coming in, man. I want to say hi to Avad as well. He said, I think the analysis was spot on. Just these small mistakes every game need to improve. What I couldn't understand is why Ten Hag criticised the players after the game about crossing too many times. Okay, because I think he's trying to be patient about it. We were crossing at the wrong time with the wrong areas, he said.
Yeah, you got to overload. Like, look, it's sort of like when you want to, like, when you're sort of dating someone, right? You get in the right positions, not like, and to get in the right position literally later. You don't run up to someone in the supermarket, like, well, I don't, and say, oh, you're well fit, let's go around the bike shed right now. You have to warm it up and go through a process. With the crosses, we want to cross from the right areas, which is the half space, right? We want to do cutbacks, but we need players to be in those positions, and we need to work overloads. If you go back to the eye test where Foden scored against us, coming round the back of Eriksen, that you can see the overload forming when Foden starts his third man run. Like, and they're able to switch it across, and Anthony's playing kid on football. Man City are tremendously slow on the ball. They're the slowest team in the league by 100-200%, I saw somewhere. What we're doing, right, is we're just chucking the ball into the box. And to be honest, I think Ten Hag's got a little bit of cheek for saying that publicly, as I was in Spain last week where I saw Harry Maguire come up front. And like,
good point. Oh God, yeah, you're right.
And the thing is, Fred wasn't able to. Fred's touch was so poor in that match. He wasn't able to get the ball. He wasn't able to set himself up to bang it in. It was so frustrating. But it's Ten Hag wants his way to. He wants a certain way of playing, and what he saw was a complete misunderstanding of his instructions, of his system, and to be honest, at times, basics of football. And it's horrified me. God knows what he thinks.
I think you're talking about dating. I said I asked my date the other day to meet me at the gym, but she didn't show up. I don't think it's going to work out. Let's just say here.
Goer, are you, on Monday?
Well, yeah, that's when I knew. No, she didn't show up, so I knew we weren't going to work out.
Yeah, I get it.
Avad is saying, did you realise it was stupid after the game? Picking, not sticking to the game plan, turning on him.
The players aren't turning on Ten Hag. The only way the players would turn on Ten Hag, I think, is because of the treatment of Ronaldo. Ronaldo's a terribly divisive figure, I believe, where you've got a fan club, you know, Cho, despite being an Argentine, grew up in Madrid. Ronaldo will be a god to him. Casemiro owes his career to Ronaldo. Well, he doesn't, but let's just say he does. Ronaldo's a legend, not just of football, but of sport.
Yeah.
And after his pantomime antics, he's come in, he's been given captain, he's played 90 minutes, he's contributed nothing, he's asked people to do his defensive running for him. I can imagine that players like McTominay, like Fred, like Alangi, like Sancho might be really pissed off that Ronaldo's in the team and they're not, but that's exactly what I'd expect from them. And they're Manchester United players. They want the best for Manchester United. So I don't think that they're going to turn. They're going to turn on the manager. I think
final few comments. Overplayed. I think just a few more comments to go through. Vincent saying, "What a big letdown in the second half against Aston Villa. Team had spent most of the time sitting down instead of trying to encourage the players to go for it." Emma's saying, "Yeah, but we will slowly see improvements over time. Ten Hag will adapt to some players if he has to." Emma's also saying here, Ten Hag definitely told them to stop it. They probably see a red shirt and cross it automatically. Laughing here from Tyra is a good analogy. A lot of laughter about that one with the date. He said the bath time. Paddy saying, I can't pronounce this. Pillsbury.
Pillsbury.
Oh, Pillsbury Doughboy. Sure, lucky. Pillsbury, sorry.
It's like the Marshmallow Man.
Mean?
He's calling
Oh,
Shaw's like Paddy's calling Shaw fat.
Paddy
Is what he's saying.
Ruthless aggression, as he's saying. Super Nick saying, hang on, we're going off topic. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Tyrant saying, Avad, we need to be patient. If Eric Ten Hag ends up getting sacked, I don't know what we're going to do. We need to give him a chance to be patient. I don't think there's any talk in getting sacked just yet.
No.
Mark Edmonds saying, this is a great analysis. I concur, Omundi. She ain't working out yet. Move on. Nice artwork in the background. Thank you very much. You can see there's a really nice picture that my friend done for me of a lovely lady. We're going off the topic. Tyrant said, I can't wait to see Ronaldo leave. He was brought back for the wrong reasons. Sick and tired of him. That's an interesting point.
I don't disagree with Tyrone. I do not disagree at all. I'm sick of him as well. I do think
Ronaldo has come out with a good apology in the dressing room. It's not Ronaldo. Ronaldo is demanding the ball to be crossed and circumventing the manager's instructions when ending well. Mark Edmond, man, big up to you all the way from Australia. Vincent saying, next time you go to the gym, you can ask her, get off that one, and just need to spend 200 million in Jan. All right. Guys, we've got 17 in the things. The last show for a long period of time. Cement saying nothing wrong with a nice little diversion. It's a trap, as they say. But yeah, I've been really enjoyed. Look, after I've really enjoyed the sessions with you. It's been like an education in a way, because the more you talk about football, it's like iron sharpening iron. You get, you come together, and with the guys as well in the comments, we've met some wonderful people. Tyrone's back on the scene. Box, Mark Edmond, Vincent, Cement, and Realist, and Super Nick, and Emma. All you guys that contribute, man. I hope you really enjoyed it. It's a lot of hard work. Bath Time does really work hard for us to bring us this sort of level of detail. And some people, it's nerd. You have to be a nerd to really love it, but I clearly do. Bath Time certainly does, and a lot of you guys are really enjoying it as well. So we really do appreciate you for what it is,
Yeah, I'm delighted by the response to the show. We never knew if we would find an audience, because like pressing and counter pressing and things are terms that people sort of throw around to win arguments and stuff. This show started when I would not shut up about arrest defence and Harry Maguire, and Omondi basically tried to use it to win arguments about why Maguire wasn't bad, and it's grown into this show. But like we're both on Twitter, like, and things like that. If you have like questions, or you want to send us anything like to look at, stuff like that, I'm very open to go on other channels and collabing. I'm always open to talk to football with anyone really, on whatever level, and I'm really delighted that like so many people have shown up on Tuesday nights for an hour and a half, and
look, like, it's quarter to, it's like really near midnight. There's 20 people still watching.
Yeah, like we will. I mean, I think we might at some point try and do like sort of maybe something called like Football Basics, or I don't know what the title is, where we'll talk about like what pressing triggers are in sort of 10 or 15-minute videos. But there are also lots of great content creators in chat, particularly Cement, Realist. There's other people like Rich Sports. This is embarrassing. All the other people have slipped my mind. There's a very, very good YouTube group around, like, and on Twitch as well. We all support each other and things, and I'm sure I'll turn up on some of their channels talking about this kind of stuff. So if you are here for the first time, don't worry about leaving likes and like, I don't care about them. Check out the people that are in the chat, because there's a lot of good guys here that all support each other.
It's one big community, isn't it?
Yeah,
most definitely. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, everything comes to an end, doesn't it? We've
see you next year, boys.
Yeah, we'll be back. But yeah, thanks, guys. We're going to sign out now. But make sure you share the show, like the show, and big up Bath Time. Find them on Twitter with myself as well. We're thereabouts, and enjoy the World Cup if you can. We're signing out. God bless. Later.